I'm concerned for the future of classic WoW. In this video, I'll be talking about various things I'm worried about, such as the seasonal servers and what happens after Cataclysm, and anything else that comes to mind. I don't expect everyone to agree with my points, but there's a lot of things I need to get off my chest. So stick around, get some popcorn, and put your feet up, and let's discuss the future of classic WoW. But first, a word from today's sponsor. Guild Wars 2 is a free-to-start MMORPG focused on gameplay that respects the player's time with account-wide unlocks for many of its features. Janthir Wilds, the newest expansion to Guild Wars 2, releases on August 20th. This fifth expansion brings players to the fabled islands of Janthir in pursuit of adventure and rewarding new experiences. This region is highly anticipated and has been too dangerous to navigate until now. As they journey, players will learn to wield a spear in combat, encounter new allies in the lowland Kodan, build a homestead for themselves, and learn more about the mysteries of Tyria's past. With quarterly content releases across the span of a year, mounts are one of the strongest and most acclaimed gameplay features in Guild Wars 2, and this expansion brings an updated Warclaw acquisition method. Guild Wars 2 is one of the healthiest, diverse, and inclusive communities in the gaming scene. There's 3 new open world explorable maps, Convergences, a 50-player event, and a new raid with challenge mode. The first new raid in 5 years. A new fractal dungeon with challenge mode for 10-player groups. And new Wizard Vault rewards. Be sure to check it out with the link down below. Let's kick this off with Season of Discovery. Now, I'm fully aware that Season of Discovery is an experiment by Blizzard. They've said so time and time again, but my main concern is the direction of their development. They're constantly split between the seasonal servers and the main branch of Classic, which is currently Cataclysm. They seem to vastly prioritize PvE over PvP. I know we've been given various events for PvP. However, anyone that's played SOD knows just how bad the PvP is, and how non-existent the balancing is. I absolutely hate the fact they've buffered the health in Battlegrounds. They've done this as a blanket fix because of how bursty everyone is, due to the insane power creep. I think a lot of us saw this issue before SOD came out, when we saw they were adding abilities from Wrath onwards. We're essentially playing Wrath, but locked into Azeroth, which really isn't my idea of Classic Plus. And I find it concerning how overboard they went with this experiment. I think everyone knows at this point that PvP has been so neglected that there's no point running Battlegrounds. I never see Warsong Gulch or Arathi Basin active, and I know this is primarily due to the fact they gave everyone free Exalted in the early phases, which was something else the community predicted would happen, but somehow Blizzard lacked the foresight to see this issue. The only battleground people run in SOD is Altrak Valley, where they can mindlessly run to the end and kill the boss in 6 minutes flat, just so they can get their epics from Exalted. The only place you'll get PvP is in Blackrock Mountain, so if you love Arathi Basin or Warsong Gulch, then tough luck. You need to wait for the next season. Me personally, the PvP has been so bad, I reinstalled League of Legends. And that should say something. Currently, I'm just raid logging. I log in every Thursday. For a couple of hours, I raid with the boys, and then I log off for a week. I kind of like what they've done with Molten Core. I like how they're making the resistances mean something. I think it's been fun to progress it, and the gear is no better than Heat 1 or 2 in Heat 3, which is great for casual players, compared to retail, where you have normal, heroic, and mythic. And mythic is literally impossible, and probably some of the most unfun experiences you'll ever have in an MMO. You'd be better off downloading Dark Souls and playing through them all. But back to SOD. The world bosses are the most boring loot pinatas I've ever seen. They aren't engaging or challenging at all. Onyxia is Onyxia. She's alright. I'm not really concerned about raiding. I'm extremely concerned for PvP, as that's one of my favourite activities in WoW. And because of how bad it is, I find myself not logging on unless it's raid time. I really hope in whatever comes next, whether it's another season or Classic Plus, that Blizzard puts more effort into PvP. And I hope, for the love of God, they don't go overboard with all the abilities. And please, show some love to the traditional tanks. I'm out of time with SOD for this video, but we'll get more into it in the future. Now let's discuss Cataclysm and what happens after. Now Cataclysm isn't really my cup of tea. I leveled up, I tried out the raids, but I couldn't do it. With Cata, the game has reached a point where I can't really resonate with it, and that's just how I feel. If you're enjoying it, I'm happy for you. I'm glad you can re-experience it again. But this begs the question, how far will Blizzard take it? I think it's obvious that we'll get Mists of Pandaria, but will they push it further and go to Warlords of Draenor? In a few years, will we see Battle for Azeroth Classic? At which point do you say that isn't Classic? The issue is the interpretation of Classic and what that actually means. Everyone seems to interpret it in a different way. Me, for example, I've always said the Golden Trilogy is Classic, and anything further than that isn't Classic. So Vanilla, TBC and Wrath, to me that's Classic. And unfortunately, I have no way of playing TBC or Wrath. I've been holding out for the last 2 years, hoping that Blizzard does some kind of reboot, but they are really taking their time, and I don't know if they even plan to do it, and if they do, when. The main branch of Classic really doesn't interest me, as my favourite versions aren't available. And man, I would do anything to play TBC again, and I'd say that's my main concern. The fact I can't play my favourite expansions, and I'm stuck playing whatever Blizzard wants me to play, without the ability to say, you know what, I'm gonna play TBC today. It kind of puts me in a weird spot with Classic, and that's another reason I've been playing other games, because the further that Blizzard pushes it through the expansions, the more I lose interest in Classic, because to me that isn't Classic. I'm just kind of waiting for Blizzard to push the big red button that says relaunch. If they plan to relaunch Classic, I hope it's sooner rather than later. But that's all I have time for today. What do you think? Leave a comment down below. Massive thanks to Guild Wars 2 for sponsoring the video, and thank you for watching. See you in the next video.